Included in his 160-page introduction to the translation of Chorev, Dayan Gronfeld provides us with an overview of Shimshon Raphael Hirsch's understanding of symbolism in Jewish lore. Dayan Gronfeld writes, "A symbol is a piece of reality which conveys to the physical and mental eye something which is difficult to convey through the mere process of reasoning. It is a term given to a visible object or action, representing to the mind something which is not made manifest, but is realized by association." In Midrashic literature, we have the Mashal, in which we have a human king, a Melech Basar Vadam, interacting with his immediate family, and or with his subjects, and or with other rulers. He goes on to write that in no sphere is more extensive use made of symbolism than in that of religion and theology. And in that sphere there are on the whole three kinds of symbolism: doctrinal, ethical, and mystical symbolism. Doctrinal symbolism is concerned with the representation of doctrinal or theological truths. In theological language, symbols sometimes connote a creed. In Yahadut, symbolism relates much more to the second category, the ethical symbolism, a medium for training in moral discipline, a means of influencing the whole character of man. And hence, aside from the actual act of a number of mitzvot, where the primary purpose is to provide assistance to those in need, in the process, the act has an impact also on the giver of tzedakah, in developing a sensitivity to those who are less fortunate. The third category is the mystical symbol, a hidden and inexpressible reality, so to speak, made comprehensible. The mystical symbol is a tool used very much within the world of Kabbalah, in discussing those worlds that are beyond Olam Hazeh. As the essential things of religion are unseen and eternal, an attempt is made to present them to our finite mind by symbols of word, form, and action. As an aside, this process of seeking meaning through the symbols of Torah is not to be confused with what is known as Ta'amei HaMitzvot, a subject that has elicited fierce debate dating back to the times of the Gemara, where one attempts to provide a reason for a particular mitzvah. Each generation has its own set of Ta'amei Mitzvot based upon the science of the day. For example, there was a perception, particularly amongst non-practicing Jews, was that kosher meat was healthier than non-kosher meat, with the demand that the blood be removed from the meat prior to consumption. Another by the fact that the prohibition against eating chazir came about because of the trichinosis organism found in that species, which when consumed created serious health problems, sometimes resulting in death. The Moreh Nevuchim abounds with such attempts to explain the purpose of mitzvot. For example, the Rambam suggests that the reasons for the prohibitions against basar b'chalav came about because basar b'chalav was part of the idolatrous sacrifices of the pagan Canaanite religion. There's also a view attributed to the Rambam that the purpose of karbanot was to stem an outflow from Judaism to pagan practice. In more recent times, there have been suggestions that the purpose of Brit Milah was to forestall cancer of the male genital organs. Similarly, the purpose of Taharat HaMishpacha was to limit the spread of cervical cancers, and so on and so forth, which may or may not be the case. The danger, of course, is if there are ways of averting the negative outcomes, then ultimately there will be no point in abiding and observing that particular mitzvah. And for this reason, there was strong argument against attempts to provide reasons or purpose for the mitzvot. This is very different from the attempt to understand the symbolism of mitzvot, in which we are not attempting to package the mitzvah in a particular context, but rather the reverse. We take a mitzvah and draw information from that mitzvah in terms of doctrine, ethical moral behavior, and the mystical understandings of the biblical text. Almost everyone, without exception, dabbles in the symbolism of mitzvot at different levels. We have already touched upon the symbolism that Rashi provides or draws from Mitzvat Bikurim. We are going to expand this symbolism in an attempt to explain why in the declaration that accompanied the bringing of the Bikurim, mention is made according to Rashi's understanding of Arami Ovid Avi, of the rescue from Lavan, whereas no mention is made of Yaakov's rescue from the threat from Esav.